Greetings and welcome to Potentials. This is Lija, and I have today, I'm very privileged to have um, Zoe Malloy. She's from the UK, and we've been talking the past few days and getting to know each other really well. I feel like I've known you for a really long time,
Yes,
and
yes. Same.
there's definitely a connection here. So
Mm,
what I'm going to say is that she is a starseed, a fellow starseed, um, an intuitive empath, and she also has psychic and mediumship abilities. And she's going to be sharing her story with us today, which is for the first time. So it's really exciting
I'm
because
nervous.
I've known you on Facebook for quite a while, and I've seen your posts, but
Yeah.
you've never really talked about it in an interview before. And so yeah, this is exciting. But don't be nervous because it's only me. It's
I know,
only me.
I know. I'll be fine. I'll get over it. I'll be fine in about 5, 10 minutes. It's just warming up and like as well warming up because my house is so cold. So when I'm a bit warmer, that I think that will help as well.
Cold in the UK right now, and it's probably cold in a lot of places. I happen to be in a warm place, so I won't rub it in. But maybe I should. Anyway, I just wanted to welcome you to Potentials and thank you for sharing your
No.
story. Thank you for coming
And
on.
and
It's me to be the one to share your story
yeah.
with. It's really
Absolutely. And likewise as well, thanks for giving me this opportunity as well, and not just for me, but for many, many individuals such as myself, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come. I know you've been busy with just doing this, just doing what you do and stuff. Again, giving people a nice platform, a safe space as well to speak and share their stories because a lot of us have, I wouldn't say I've been waiting a long time for this. It wasn't important, but I think what I'm trying to say is it's nice to actually for once to be actually listened to and supported and know that whatever we share is it's just going to be supported, really, isn't it? And not going to be judged and laughed and mocked at, because fortunately there's a lot of people out there like that. And because of that, we tend to just go ghost, we go quiet, we shrink ourselves, and a lot of the time we get into deep depression. So it's a huge, huge thing for me, and I'm sure for many, many people like myself and yourself as well, obviously, because soul family, we're here, there, and everywhere, and we're all connecting at this time. We've always connected, but I think at the minute, as what was that song I had? Was it earlier or yesterday? The final countdown. Let's
yes.
just say, yeah,
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah.
Yes.
The final countdown. I won't get into that. But yeah,
That's a
we'll
great
just
song. Yep.
I mean, I bet you've noticed as well, like we're just connecting, like I wouldn't say all of a sudden, but I'd say more and more and more, like just gravitating towards each other. And yeah, it's overwhelming, but it's exciting. That's when we're heading in the end times. And I don't mean end times as in, oh, the end of the world. I mean end times as in, just a lot of things that's happening on the planet right now with this
Yeah.
awakening that everyone's having and experiencing. This
Yeah. The
lovely
end,
ride.
the end of the old paradigm,
It's
right?
just a new way. It's a new consciousness being born. It's the old dying out, and a new way of thinking, feeling, believing is being born. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, it makes sense. Yes, the old
Oh, good.
paradigm is breaking and crumbling. The old system is going away, and we're going to have a new one. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but maybe a couple of years, maybe more than a couple of years. But I don't know. But it's good to know that we're not alone, and that we have
Mm.
each other, and that we've got the support, and that we can feel each other beyond, technology, beyond
Oh
what,
yeah.
even if the grid were to shut down tomorrow, touch wood, no, but if it were, doesn't matter because we still have each other, and we can still communicate telepathically. We can still communicate with
Yeah,
each other's energy. I can still feel your energy, and you're
yeah,
all the way over there.
I know.
But it
That's what I'm
doesn't feel like
saying.
it. It feels like you're right here.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean. It's crazy. There's no amount of time or distance, even though, it's not really a thing, but it's
it's
what we
not
call it
real.
down here. Yeah. Like, that's the thing, consciousness, there's no limits. We can just project our consciousness anywhere. We can go anywhere. It's just amazing, we're not restricted in this small, dense, heavy 3D body spacesuit, so it's great.
Right, exactly. And when you're thinking of someone, I think that's really an amazing thing. When we think of each other, we actually really are connected.
Yeah.
And it's something that happens all the time. We're all when you're thinking of somebody, I guarantee you they're thinking. It's just
Uh, Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Or, if you're thinking of someone and then all of a sudden you get a text message from them or a phone
that
call
happens.
or, oh, I was just thinking of you, or I've been meaning to reach out to you. That happens a lot again, because it just proves it even more, doesn't it? And there's no
Absolutely.
such thing there's no such thing as coincidences.
Nope, not at all. Well, I
No.
was going to ask you, and I'm just curious, when did you start to realize that you have, these abilities and that you were different from other people?
Hmm.
Just not that we're so special or anything, but, you have
Yeah.
abilities that are different and unique to you. Nobody else seemed to have them around, not even your
Mm,
own family, right? That you knew of. So,
yeah.
uh, what, what was it that made you realize, okay, this isn't I'm different.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It started off as a as a thought, if that makes sense, in the sense of, so when I was, let me think, I'll try my best to remember ages, but it would be near or around. So I'd probably say when I was around 6 or 7. Let's go with that. That feels right. So the first things that entered my head was, which I don't believe is normal for normal 6 or 7 year olds, but anyway, for me, it was, I questioned everything. And I don't mean like small things, it was big, big things. So, for instance, it'd be things like, why do we have to go to school? It doesn't make sense to me. It's stupid. Why are we being, why do we have to follow orders? Why are there people that are bigger and better than us? Why do certain people act this way, and why do other people act that way? Why are people mean to people? Because I
Yes.
was super, yeah, it's a good one because um, so I'm the oldest of 6, and I was so different from all my siblings in more ways than one, and I was the most sensitive one. I wore my heart on my sleeve, and I'd cry at the drop of a hat. And I often remember my mum saying to me, if you don't stop crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about. And I was just a very sensitive child. I was. But with energy, I noticed as well, it wasn't even just a thought, it was a feeling. It was a huge, huge feeling. I felt everything. The world was just so overwhelming for me. I couldn't resonate with anyone. I couldn't relate to anyone. I even from a young age, I remember sitting and speaking to my friends about, like, things like, do you believe in fairies, or do you think we can heal that bird that's just fell from the tree? And they'd look at you like, and then,
Yeah.
yeah. So then eventually, as I got older, I learned and realized that people didn't think like me. And so I kind of kept that part of me quiet and private, really. And it just, got worse as I got older. And then I did things like that. I remember there was a bird that was dying, a poor little blackbird. It was dying, and I remember, all the other kids just walking past and poking at it, just no empathy, just cold,
Yeah.
yeah, and cruel as well. And that, oh, I just never understood that. So anyway, again, around that same age, I was like 6 or 7, and in it, in my head, I believed that if I went over to that bird and held it, I believed that I could heal it. Where did I get that from?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so, or I did try and heal it. I don't think I did, but the fact is that I believed that I
Yeah.
could,
You
Yeah,
had a memory. You had a memory. Yeah.
yeah,
Of
yeah,
doing it before. Right.
yeah, absolutely. And then again with the telepathy thing, I was a late speaker. It was very hard for me to actually get words out and speak and say certain things, if anything at all. In fact, I didn't actually speak until I was 9. 9 years old was when I actually spoke, and I taught myself how to read. Just the way, even the speech therapist, just I don't know what it was. She, her job is to obviously help me to learn how to speak. And I remember sitting there, and she was just trying to get me to speak and say things, but it just didn't work. I couldn't. But I just thought I was able to eventually teach myself how to speak. So I don't know what that's about, but maybe I just wasn't ready. But it was very frustrating because, I was trying to speak to people through the mind. So obviously at the time I didn't realize what was going on, but I now realize it was telepathy. That's how I was trying to speak to people. So even though I couldn't speak physically, I was clear as day. My English was amazing in my head, even from a young age. I could understand what people were saying. I could speak in my mind clear as day, but I struggled to actually get those words out because initially I thought, it was normal to try and speak and project thoughts and feelings into my mum's mind, but she couldn't perceive it, and so I'd get angry and frustrated. I used to think that she was ignoring me.
Mm.
So, things like that, really, I started to realize, what's wrong with me? Something's not right here. Why am I so different? My own siblings bullied me also. So, when I did actually speak, this is another strange thing as well. So, when I did actually learn how to speak, I sounded so different from all my siblings, and we lived in the same house, we lived in the same town. Obviously, we grew up together, but we were so different. Even our accents. My accent was I was clear English speaking almost, and they weren't. It was so bizarre. It's
That
almost
happened.
like, did it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah, and they
my
bullied
brothers
me.
have totally different accents than me. They don't
Yeah,
speak like me at all. I have like almost like a broadcasting person's accent. Like there's no strong accent.
yeah,
They have really thick
yeah,
local accents, whatever the
yeah.
local. But I think it was because I was like you, I didn't talk. So I didn't
Mm,
pick up all the local accents like they did because they were always around other people talking to them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
it's
Because
interesting.
I remember they always bullied me. So the bullying first began at home
Mm.
and then school. So they used to sit at the table, and I know obviously kids, they take the mick out of each other, especially siblings, and make fun and stuff. Of course, that's to be expected. But this was extreme. I literally felt like the ugly duckling, the black sheep. I always felt like it was them against me, and obviously they saw something in me and they didn't like it. They used to bully me at the table. They'd be like, even things down to I used to hold my cutlery correct,
Mm.
and they'd be like this, and there's me like eating a specific way, and they used to look at me and they used to go, "Mum, why is Zoe so different?" I remember, why does Zoe talk like that? Why does Zoe eat like that? Like I was just so different in every way. So that made me even more like lonely. So yeah, I wasn't particularly close with my siblings, as you can imagine. My
Same.
mum, yeah, I never bonded or connected with my mum, probably because my mum didn't help, because my mum was quite a cold, shut off, closed person. No feelings really. Just not very motherly. And so maybe it was that, but yeah, I was quite a loving, affectionate child. Um, but yeah, I didn't really get that. I can hear an echo or something. Can you hear it? there's like a delay. Are you all right? Can you hear anything?
I can hear everything fine. I don't know if it's something on my end, but I don't hear anything. I don't hear an echo or anything.
It's when I speak. And we were just speaking about this earlier.
Yeah, no, I don't hear, and I don't have you on speakerphone, so it's
It
not that.
it it's not that bad, but I just wanted to know, just wondered if you heard
Yeah,
it as well.
I
It's
I
not
don't hear it on my end at all, but yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so then if we want to get into more deeper things, so for okay, so many examples. So when I okay, so my mum was always a big believer in the supernatural and paranormal. I do believe my mum is a starseed. I do believe that I fit my understanding now is that she signed up to play the role to give me the tough mother love to help me with my awakening. That's what I feel is going on here. Um, I understand that now on a spiritual level, but on a 3D human level, I still hold a bit of resentment towards her, and that's still healing that I need to go through. But anyway, I won't go deep into that. But anyway, so she's always been a believer in extraterrestrials, UFOs. She's had her own experiences. She also has her own psychic abilities. However, she shuts hers off. She doesn't want to deal with it. So she always told me, shared stories with me about, hauntings that happened around her and things like that. So from an early age, I was always curious of all, anything supernatural, paranormal. I loved it. But then, I was experiencing myself supernatural and paranormal things. So, and my mum shared with me, I was in one story. Well, there's quite a few, but one in particular. I was a newborn baby. I probably say I was about 6 weeks old, and this is my mum's words. She said that she was in bed. I was in my room, in my cot, or if you're American, crib, and she said she had a nightmare that there were men in my bedroom, and I was screaming. But then she actually woken up to me screaming. So of course she was like, "Well, what's going on?" So she gets up and goes into the bedroom and checks on me. And she said that I was just literally, I can't remember if she said I was standing in my cot or sitting, but I'm 6 weeks old, so I don't know. Was I sitting or standing? I don't know. But anyway, she said that she couldn't see any physical people or beings in my room, but she said she could sense that they were there. And she said, and the most alarming thing was that all my toys had been thrown on the floor. They were all on the floor, and of course I couldn't do that. And so she, like I say, she knew that there was definitely someone in there. So she was very intuitive and psychic in that way. Again, around the same age. This time I was in her bedroom, I think, and she wakes up in the middle of the night and she turns to check on me, and she sees this tall, black, hooded, cloaked being um, just leaning over, watching me while I'm asleep. And so she kind of went into some kind of sleep paralysis. And so this happened, yeah. And then I might as well tell you this bit because it kind of goes, it's the same thing. So the same thing happened with me. So my daughter now, she's 16. So when she was around 6 weeks old, I experienced the same thing. I woke up, I checked, I remember looking at my daughter's swinging crib, cot thing, and I saw exactly the same thing. And it was so tall that it had to bend over. There's no way if it stood up that it'd be able to fit in the space, because obviously the ceiling was quite low. It was too tall. And it was proper hunch like this, hunched, just staring at Lucy, my daughter. And I was just like shocked. Like, I was lying there and I was just so shocked. And then the next thing is, I'm not able to move. I'm not able to scream. I'm not able to say anything, but I'm able to move my eyes. And I was just like looking at this being. And the next thing that happens is, all of a sudden, it's like this energy enters the room and it comes up to me. And it's the only way to explain it well, to describe it even is like angelic, protective, motherly, nurturing energy, and it was like warmth and this powerful energy, and it was like all of a sudden, it's like I could see in my mind's eye. It's like its wings came and it engulfed me and wrapped me up like this, and then I remember slowly drifting off and falling to sleep. And then, yeah, and then the very next morning, I opened my eyes, and of course, I remembered what had happened. So the first thing I do is I get up and I get the phone and I ring my mum. So then I tell my mum what had happened, and then she went quiet on the phone, and I'm like, "What?" Excuse me. I'm like, "What?" She went, "What you've just experienced, Zoe, is exactly what I experienced when you were a baby." So not only did it happen to me, it happened to my daughter, and I'm sure it's happened to other family members. But anyway, before I came to the realization of what they were, I intuitively referred this being as a watcher. I always called him a watcher or the watchers. And I, it's hard because I'm like, the energy that I felt, that angelic energy, was it actually connected to the watcher? Was it his energy? Did he realize that I caught him in the act and he didn't want to startle me and panic me? I do believe that that was my family from my soul tribe. And I intuitively feel that what happened is, which is very common with starseeds, especially when they're newborns, because because we are, we're, a different vibration from Earth humans. We're obviously a higher vibrationally, we're just higher vibrational beings, not better, just higher, because we've come from elsewhere. And so in order to sustain and survive in a human vessel, we have to bring our vibration down, but also as well, even though we're in a human body, because all humans are hybrids, which I won't get into, but the star seeds are usually born into specific bloodlines, but certain bodies, human bodies that are treat a little bit more advanced than the normal regular human body. So we're able to, so it's a better match for our soul. So we're able to lower our vibration just enough to be able to come into this, let's say, extra hybridized human body, but we still look human because we are human, we're just slightly tweaked. So we're able to exist in this body, and sometimes we can't exist in this body, and a lot of infant star seeds have died. In fact, that a lot of them have not even made it out of into the world. A lot of them have the parents have miscarried them, because there's a misalignment in the energies. But anyway, getting back to that, so I believe what happened is the watcher, so someone from my soul team, soul family, came in, and I believe what he was doing with my daughter and what he was doing with me as a newborn was just checking on my energy. Did anything needed tweaking? Did I need a little bit of rebalancing? Is everything fine? Yeah, we're good to go. But I was just able to catch him, because I feel it's a he in the act, and my mum was able to catch him in the act. I'm assuming if it's the same being, I feel like it is. Yeah. To what kind of being, I don't know. I've got an idea, but I won't say, because I know there's a lot of people aren't so open-minded with these particular race of beings, so I might leave that for another time. So yes, so that happened. So that's obviously not normal. What are the chances of that happening to me and then my daughter?
Yeah. No, it's not a coincidence.
No, exactly. And it wasn't in my head. It wasn't my imagination. I had my mum to back me up and support me and be like, yeah, it happened because Zoe, it happened with you, or to her, when you were a newborn baby. So there you go. Can't make that up. So a lot of other things happened. So this is a weird one. So again, I was a newborn baby, and my mum had moved into a flat, just me and her alone, and she lived in this one bedroom flat. And she had a sister. Oh, that was it. So she'd lived there, and there were, of course, there were just, typical hauntings, bumps and bangs, and weird things like that. But my mum's used to that. She's always had it herself since as long as she can remember. Um, but anyway, I think she was only there for about 12 months, and then she got offered a bigger house. So she moved, and she, took everything, including the carpets. And when she took the carpets out of, now, this is where my memory is a bit funny. So I could have sworn that my mum said it was my bedroom floor. She took the carpets out of my bedroom, and she was shocked to find that there was a huge ass pentagram on my
Mm.
floor that was not there when she moved in.
Oh, that's
Uh,
weird.
yeah, and I've got chills now thinking about it. And
Yeah.
so I'll be honest, I didn't believe her. I thought, So she says, if you don't believe me, Zoe, ask both your aunties and they'll tell you because they were there. And I asked them and they went, yeah, we helped your mum move in. They were not on the floor, but when we moved you out, it was there.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I feel I psychically, intuitively feel that I don't feel it was there for protection for me. I feel like that was when my attack started because I've had a lot of darkness
Mm.
follow me, which I will get into. I've been haunted by both bad spirits and reptilians. I've been haunted and targeted by reptilians since the moment I was born, I believe.
Think, like, is the cause of that? Like, where did that come from?
I just believe it's very common with starseeds because there's a whole there's a spiritual war going on, hence why we're here for many reasons, of course. But they're here and they've always been here in many ways, shapes, and forms. They're not all bad, but they're certainly not all good neither. And so because we're obviously team light, if you like, it's a bit cringy, but we're light workers, so we're here to bring the light. We're here to help do good for humanity. We're here to help, bring them closer to source. We're here to help remind them of how beautiful, powerful, and just amazing they are. Because, since the moment they've been born, they've been programmed and put in systems and programmed and being told a whole bunch of lies, oh, you're
Told the opposite.
yeah, they were basically the opposite, absolutely. And so, of course, we're here to do that, and we're going against what they want to do. So, of course, we're number one targets. They're like, oh God, hello, another
Yeah.
one, another star seed, right? You, Jared, whatever, you know, you keep an eye on this one here because I'll tell you, you can have your hands full with this one. That's kind of how it is, and we're monitored, and we're tracked, and we are attacked. So
Yeah.
if we help too much, that's when I get more psychically attacked, and I have been physically attacked as well. And that's
But
another
we're
reason why.
also, oh, sorry, but we're also protected as well.
Yes, we are also protected, absolutely. Sometimes, because people might argue and say, well, if you're protected, then why weren't these attacks prevented? So, again, it's I'd say complex, but it's not complex because, we're not here to experience all the sunshine and rainbows and bumblebees and butterflies, we're not. We're here to get stuck in the darkness because, the darkness serves a purpose. And we agreed that before incarnating, like a lot of humans, okay, well, in order to help with your ascension, in order to activate you and help wake you up, you need to experience some kind of trauma. Do you want to experience this trauma, that trauma, all above? How fast do you want to wake up? Apparently, I wanted to wake up super fast and super early.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Do you think it's
I was
also,
like,
I'm sorry. Do you think
no,
it's
sorry,
also like it's an intense thing, right? Because the more intense that you're going to shine, the more brilliant you're going to be as a star seed. The more
mm,
darkness has to combat,
yes,
like there has to be both, and the same
yeah.
amount of intensity to balance it out. So,
Absolutely. That made it's again chills. Yeah, I like the way you said that because you've perfectly just explained it without, like my fashion, just rambling on, like get to the point. But yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely, of course. The brighter you shine, the more powerful you are, the more darkness you're going to attract because you're just so reckoned to be forced with. It's like, oh hell no, she's getting way too big for her boots. We're going to do whatever it takes to bring her down, you know, and that's basically what's going on. Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, which explains why I've gone through so much because, you know, obviously I'm the type of soul that was like, before I came and started to be human, I was like, right, give it to me. I want to experience everything, you know, and I'd say I probably bit off more than I can chew, but hey, I'm still
You
here.
you picked the top tier package. Like I want
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want a buffet and I want everything.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So, okay, so just go back to where I finished.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's because if I don't do that, you see, I'll end up talking about something else, and then I'll look back at this and I'll be like, damn it, I didn't, you know, finish that bit,
You
or
can
you
always
know,
do another one.
no, this is very, very true. But where was I? Oh yeah, so the pentagram. So I intuitively feel that was some form of a hex, a I don't know if it was reversed or right. I don't know that much, but I just feel it wasn't anything positive. That's what I feel, sorry. So yeah, so that happened. And then, you know, I get older and let's say I'm around 9 or 10. And then things really intensify, you know. So okay, so at night, you know, I'd be in bed, I'd be lying in bed because I was a night owl. I was always the last one to fall asleep, and I'd often just lie there in the darkness because we weren't allowed to have any lights on. And I remember just seeing shapes move in the darkness. It's almost like particles. I was always able to see particles, energy, always. Even now, I can see it, but I'm so used to it, I just assume it. I forget that not everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then weird things like my bed shaking. So like something shaking my bed or vibrating.
Mhm.
Um, like tapping on my window because I used to have a window behind my head, like behind my bed, and they'd be like tapping, scratching and tapping. And I knew it weren't from the inside. I knew it was from the outside. So yeah, I was always taunted. I was always messed with. I was always, you know, something was always trying to scare me, obviously, to prevent me from shining, to dim my vibration. And it worked for a long time.
This was different than that other experience that you were telling me about, where your own energy was causing things to happen in the room.
Yeah, it could have been that as well. I mean, yeah, so there's been one set. Let me just quickly let my cat in because she's crying at the door.
It's fine. Check your pillows, hocus
I
pocus.
know.
You're all ready for Halloween.
Go on. One's gone out and one's come in. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I'll share that with you because yeah. So how old was I? I was about 14 and I had my first relationship, boy relationship, boyfriend, and we got in an argument and yeah, full blown argument, standing in his bedroom, and I remember I was stood near the door, and he was kind of like in front of me, so he got the wall to his back,
Mm.
and got in a huge argument. I just remember I was screaming because I had anger problems when I was younger. So I was screaming. I just felt this rage, and then all of a sudden, this knife. Thank God it was closed. I think it was like a hunting knife, a knife or something. You know, the flip ones. But luckily, it was not open. And that, in the moment of me screaming, literally flew off. Well, I wouldn't say flew off. It was like it was launched from the shelf and just flew in the air and smacked him in the back of the head. And then he didn't even turn around to look. He was just stunned. I think he was picking up on my energy because I remember him staring and looking at me like, what the heck? Like, And I remember like I knew I did that. See, and you know, a normal person would probably think more logical, like, well, how could you think logical in that situation?
Yeah,
There's no way that
there's
a knife
there's
can
nothing
just go
logical about that.
flying. Yeah. Or even it's going as far as like, oh, perhaps it's a spirit on my side, you know what I mean? It's just showing him, I don't know, just like, huh. But I didn't feel that. And even, bearing in mind, I was a huge believer in spirits. I had no choice. I experienced them since the get-go. But I just knew that was my energy. And I think as well, before that, I used to, also mention that I used to believe that I could heal, a bird that was dying. I used to believe that if I sit and stared at an object, that I could make it move.
Yeah,
All these things. But
same.
obviously, it's memory, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's memory. And I truly believe that I could do it. And I used to get so angry and frustrated that I couldn't do it. And then I came across a horror movie, and I can't remember which one it is, but there's a girl in there, and she's able to move things with her mind. And I just connected with that movie so strongly. And I was like, oh my God, obviously it was a movie. I didn't understand it weren't real, but I was like, oh my God, see, so it is normal to think and believe this then, and then obviously realize it's just a movie, but we won't go down that line. Movies are based on, reality. So yeah, all those things happened. Let me
Kids with
think.
insight, I like to say. They
Yeah,
they like to put the messages out there, and make it look like it's something to laugh at or something ridiculous when it's actually real. But they
yeah.
still have to put them out there.
I'm still listening to you. One sec. See,
Okay.
you can't do things like this when you have pets.
Oh,
Oh,
I
no.
know. I don't know where my kitty is, but he's being. But you have
See,
two
if
cats. That's
I
different.
have, yeah, I have two cats. I think if it was warm, I'd have the door open and they'd just come and go when they want. But because obviously it's winter,
Uh,
it's freezing, it's raining, I have to have the door shut. So it's like up, down, up, to let them in and out. Oh, so let's get into the next bit, which I've shared with you already, the one where I was visited by a UFO, someone from my family. So how old was I? I'd say 8 or 9, and it was very very common for me, especially in my younger years, to I just had a fascination with the stars. And I was a night owl, and I embraced the darkness. I embraced the night time, the evenings. I loved it. I still do to this day. I actually prefer the evenings and the nighttime to the daytimes. I always have done. I just love the darkness. And not in that, weird evil way. I don't dabble in that. But I think it's because I'm a night owl. I think, or not, I think it's because I know, because I'm as an empath, you know, in the day, the energies of the people, everyone's busy, their minds are they're awake, they're not asleep, they're not resting, they're awake, they're worrying, they're stressing, they're working, they're arguing, they're just dealing with day-to-day life. And then add like noise as well, of people working and factories going and cars. It's too busy and chaotic for my energy, and it stresses me out. I'm super, super sensitive to the point that I could easily be labeled as autistic, that extreme. So sometimes I have to get ear blockers, noise cancel, to cancel the
yeah.
noise out.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, because it's like it triggers me. It makes me so angry. It's weird. It's a very typical autistic trait, but basically, I'm very extremely sensitive to energies. I've always been that way, so that's why I like the evenings, because it's quiet. I'm calm. If people are calm, I'm calm, because as empaths, we feel everything.
Yeah.
Unless you can completely guard yourself and shut yourself energetically off to the world, which I don't always remember to do, it's going to be madness. But that's another thing as well I noticed. So when I was younger, And then I'll get to the UFO thing because I just remembered I was supposed to be talking about that. Oh, this is what I mean. So, so when I
So,
was younger, my mum always had the washing machine on, the tumble dryer on. She was always clinking and clanking in the kitchen, doing the pots. The siblings were screaming in the background and fighting. And
yeah,
I'm just drowning in this chaotic, crazy energy, which normal people just wouldn't even think twice about. It's just normal. For me, I couldn't cope. And that's when I noticed my abilities were at the strongest because it was induced through emotion, which produced more energy.
right. Yes, yes.
Yes, it was like given that anger, that energy, that
Yeah.
heightened energy, it was just, yeah, it was power. So I was very, very psychic as a kid, more psychic than I am now, very psychic. So for instance, and my mum knew this, she was aware of this, and she didn't know any different with me. But anyway, there'll be things like my mum would be mopping the floor, and I'll be honest, I was a bit cocky when I was a kid. I was a bit too confident with my abilities because the moment I would say things or project things, it would manifest. So my mum would be mopping and I would laugh, I'd be like, that's going to break in a minute. And she'd look at me, she'd be like, Zoe, don't you, and it snapped. She'll go
Ah,
there, she'll go near the microwave. I'd be like, it's going to blow up. I kid
what?
you not. Yeah, not like blow up, but it sparked and it
Oh,
blew the fuse. And she's like, Zoe. And I would be laughing. Yeah,
my
no one
God.
else in my family could do that. And I remember my mum was in a relationship with some guy, and he was there and he experienced some of these things. And he looked at me and he went, how? And he said to my mum, Ellen, I don't care, I just said a name, but it don't matter. Like, Ellen, how does she do that? And my mum would just be like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that is wild.
I had super sensitive hearing, so I always knew if someone was like, say, half a block away on the way. I'd be like, oh, it's almost like I could feel their energy, and then I could hear their footsteps approaching before anyone else could. And I was always, not always, there was a couple of times I was wrong, but I'd say, oh, someone's just about to knock on the door, and then as I say it, knock, knock, so it's things like that. Yeah. And they'll
Yeah.
be like, how is she doing this? Like, this is crazy. Or, mom, Nan's about to ring, the phone will go. So these are just giving you like perfect examples. Another one, this is a good one. So um, I said to my mum's boyfriend at the time, let's play a game. And he was like, yeah, okay, sure. I says, test me. He says, what do you mean? I says, get a coin, get a 50p coin. I says, and I want you to flip it in the air and I've got to guess either heads or tails. Did it 50 times and I got every single one right.
Oh, wow.
I guessed every single, which side it was going to be.
That's
And then another thing was I was asleep on the sofa. My mum was at work and I was babysitting and my brother was outside and he was banging, banging on the walls, the door, the window, and he was annoying me. And he woke me up, and I'm not proud of this, but this is my story. But anyway, I get up off the sofa and I literally, to be fair, I actually thought the window was open. That's how spotless and clean my mum's windows were. My mum was a bit of a clean freak. I generally believed the windows were open. So I put my fist thinking the window was open and to punch my brother. I did that, except the window was closed. So my fist went straight through the glass. And I just remember it was so, because I have got very fast and quick reflex. Not so fast as now, but definitely when I was younger. And I just remember like so fast. It was like I pulled my hand through before the glass even had a chance to fall. And I didn't have a scratch or a mark on me. My hand and my fist should have been messed up. And
yeah.
my brother's face and ear was cut, which I felt so bad for.
Oh,
Um, yeah. So my mum came charging back home from work. As you can imagine, she was very angry. and her boyfriend came in and he said, "What happened?" So I told him. He went, "Right, show me your hand." So I showed him my hand, not a scratch. He went, "You're lying." He said, "I'm telling you now, look at the damage you've caused your brother. Look at the damage you've done to that window. And you're telling me you did that with your fist and you haven't got a scratch on you." I was like, I said, I was so angry. I was like, "It happened. I'm not, why would I lie?"
And how
And
else? I mean, what did he think you did? Like,
I
I mean,
know, I
there's no
don't
other
know.
explanation for it. I mean,
Exactly. And
I just opened the window, punched him, and then shut it, and then broke the
yeah,
window just for effect. No,
yeah, exactly.
that
I'm just
doesn't make any
lying,
sense.
you know. Um, so then I had to say, I said to my brother, I says, tell him. He went, "Yeah, that's exactly what happened." And he just looked at me, my stepdad just looked at me like, so you can imagine I got a lot of strange looks.
I'm surprised they even messed with you at all after that. I mean, like, did he ever do that anymore? Probably
No,
not.
he was still very naughty, and yeah, he didn't like me very much. In fact, he was the one that hated me the most, really. But he's got more darkness, so it makes sense. But I won't. This is not the. I won't get into that.
Yeah,
That's a different
I
kind of
understand.
topic. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
but it makes sense. Yeah, he hates me. He cannot stand me. My own brother, he cannot stand me. And yeah, of course, I hurt his ear, but even before that, he just couldn't stand me.
right. That's
Um,
why he sing with you to begin with. Right. That's
exactly. Yeah. Right. So before I forget the UFO story,
oh,
um, I know I got
I
there.
so bad. I should have reminded you. But your stories are interesting, so I don't want to interrupt. But go ahead.
Um, so as long as I can remember, for as long as I could remember, I always, even if I didn't use the term alien or extraterrestrial because I was young, so I didn't have a label, a name for them. I just knew that we were not the only living beings on this planet. I knew that there was so much more out there. I even believed from a young age that I was on a foreign planet, that this Earth was not my home. That always resonated with me. I always had that within me. I just felt like I felt homesick, severely homesick, and I was angry because I knew in my heart, I knew in my soul that Earth was not my home, and I just felt like I'd just been dropped off and left to my own devices, and I was suffering, and I couldn't understand. Come on then. I couldn't I couldn't understand. I was just lonely, everyone was so different from me and it was horrible. So anyway, so I always believed, like I say, in other things. So yeah, I was around 8 or 9 years old, and I went to bed, just a normal night. I waited till all my siblings fell asleep, and then I would sneak out of bed and oftentimes sit on my window ledge and just look up at the stars and just gaze at the stars. I always felt like a sense of peace when I looked up at the stars. I felt like I was at home. So that was my little like nightly ritual routine thing I did. I always did that. I loved looking at the stars. And anyway, so on this one particular night, looking out at the stars, and I see this huge, huge bright star. And I was like, wow, that is so beautiful. And I just watched it, and it was in the sky, stationary. And then all of a sudden, it just got brighter and brighter, and it started moving slowly, very slowly. And I just remember following it with my eyes. I was just like, whoa, that's incredible. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then this one star, so I don't know if this one star split into three or two more came to that one star, if that makes sense. Because it kind of came, it was like one star and then it went into three. So it was like a triangle shape. So yeah, like I say, I don't know if it was just a singular ship and it just put on some other lights, or it was just one ship and two others joined it. I don't know, because it wasn't like I saw a star and then two stars came like that. It was kind of like
Right.
one star
It
and
came out.
then two others appeared. Yeah, and I remember it was fading in. I don't know what I'm doing with my fingers, by the way. But it was like, fading in and out, these three dots, in, out, and then two would go, one would stay, one would go, two, kind of like that for a bit.
It was fluctuating.
Thank you. There we go. That was so much easier. Yes, it was fluctuating. It was fluctuating. And I almost felt like, well, not almost, it felt like it was putting on a show. That's
Yeah,
what it felt like. It knew that I was watching, and we did. I connected with that shit telepathically. Telepathically in the sense, because obviously there's different forms of telepathy. So telepathic in the sense of not hearing, a voice, but it was a feeling, a sense. It was that kind of telepathic connection, as well as a familiar feeling, a comfort home feeling. It just felt like I was being visited by my family. That's exactly what it felt like. So yeah, so it was fluctuating, and then I remember the triangle kind of got further, for like, the three dots got further away, and then it warped and came back in, and then it kind of like was morphing and changing shape like this. It was crazy. Like, it was just
so
so
cool.
beautiful. I know, yeah. I was like, and then yeah, then I'm trying to remember it now. And then I think the three dots then went back to one. So then it was one light, back to the beginning with the star. Well, it wasn't a star, obviously. Stars don't do that. It was a UFO. And so then the UFO moves closer to me. Um, it was actually it was just behind my back garden, and I had a very small back garden, so I'm not very good with how many meters or foot or feet away. I'm not very good with that, but it was big and it was bright. So I don't know how far it was, but it was pretty close. Like I said, I had a very small garden. It was just behind my gate. And then, so anyway, so it comes closer, at a steady pace. It comes closer, and then it stops. And then all of a sudden it shoots like super fast. It's like that. And then just stops in midair. Like, I've never seen anything shoot so fast like that. And then it turns again, and then it comes closer to me. And then it's just morphing and doing some crazy things. So then at this point, I'm like, it's really got my attention. And then all of a sudden, it lowers down. It lowers down to the point of where I'm like this on the window, and I'm like looking because I can't see anymore because of the trees. And I'm like, where's it gone? Where's it gone? It just gets lower and lower and lower to the point where I literally, if I could, I would have gone outside and looked for it, but I couldn't. And I was just waiting eagerly, like, where is it? Show yourself to me again. Like, don't hide. Where are you? And then it wasn't too long, and then all of a sudden it shot up like this, super fast. It was just stopped midair, and then it sat there probably for about 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden it flew off super fast, sonic speed, flew off, and it lit the sky up a bit like when you have fireworks and it lights the sky up. It was
Yeah.
like that, colours,
Oh,
and it just gone. Yeah.
wow.
And I started to cry. I was crying. I remember saying in my head, come back, don't leave me, come back." And it was so emotional, and I just felt like it left me, and it was really sad. So yeah, so that happened as well at that age, which, so of course, to me, I knew I didn't know they were extraterrestrial or aliens. I just knew it wasn't of this earth, and it was otherworldly. Definitely, there was no doubt about it. That energy was not earthly energy. I felt that much. Yeah.
Do you think that, I'm sorry, I don't need to interrupt, but I was just wondering, do you think that because they're out of time, they're not in the same time that we're in, like they're outside of the time, right? So they're looking at you and they're not thinking, oh, it's been years since we've seen you. Like, to them, it was just maybe not that long ago because they have such longer lives or whatever. So they're
Mm.
just coming back to say hi, not thinking, oh my God, she's going to be so sad when we leave. You know what I mean? Because it's been so long. But for us,
Yeah,
it just feels like,
absolutely.
you know,
Yeah, because time. I think time's different for them. What would be, say, I don't know, let's say a year in our time, hypothetically, would probably be like a day in their time. That's
Right,
how
right.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of
Well,
like
think
that.
about
So
it, like with cats, for example, they don't live as long as we do, right? Their lives are so much shorter. So that when we
yeah,
leave for the day, it could be like months for them, you know? And they're
yeah,
like, you come back, it's like they're so happy to see us and like, where's my food? Like we thought we were gonna die, you know.
I know.
You know,
Dramatic. They are dramatic though, aren't they? They really
Same
are.
thing, you know, we're like that. We're like the cats.
Yeah,
Like, when are you coming back?
absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. It's true. It really is. It's got to be like that. Well, it is
Yeah.
like that, but yeah. Um, So, I mean, so you've obviously got a picture now in your head of the kind of life that I had. So of course, I started speaking more to my friends. Do you believe in, obviously I'm a bit older now. I understand, the term alien and extraterrestrial, and my mum shares me her experiences. I'll save
Oh,
that for another time. Yeah.
cool.
Well, I can share with you now if you want. It's only quick.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So she went to the cinema with her friends. She was in her 20s, and it was something she did quite regular. On a Saturday night, they would go to the cinema. And so just a normal Saturday night, they go to the cinema. Oh my God, I just remembered, yeah. They were watching the movie Alien.
Oh,
I just
wow.
remembered. Yeah, that's weird. I've always forgot about that bit. Anyway, it'll make sense when I finish. So she was
Okay.
watching Alien. Yeah, it just come out of something in the cinema, and my mum was big into sci-fi and Star
Yeah,
Trek. Like she loves all
of
that. So she
course.
was like, "I'm going." Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, it does make a lot of sense. And I love all that stuff.
Yes,
So
me
anyway,
too.
so after the movie, they wanted to get home quick. So my mum was driving and she decided, oh hell, let's take a shortcut and let's drive through the country lanes, practically, near enough through the woods.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can see where this is going, can't you? Yeah. This bit's like what you see in the movies.
Yeah.
So she's coming through because again she wasn't really scared of the dark, I don't she should be and I should have been really, but we weren't. Probably because we're desensitized from it all. We're so used to it. We're just anyway. So she's driving through the woods and then from what she's saying, she says the car started like jerking a bit. I don't know if that's the right word or even the appropriate word, but it was like, just acting up and the lights were like the car lights, the headlights, they kept fading in and out, so she was panicking. And then all of a sudden my mum's friend says to my mum, Ellen, put your foot down now. I've got chills. Put your foot down now. And my mum's like, what? She says, just don't ask, just put your foot down and just get out of here as fast as we can. And the
Yeah.
mum's like, no, what? Tell me now, what is it? She says, there's something flying in through the woods above us, and it looks like a UFO. And my mum's like, and it's chasing us. It's been literally behind us the whole time. And my mum panics. And then I remember she said that she quickly locked all the doors and she just put her foot down and got out there as fast as she can. So yeah, she experienced
Yeah.
that.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm,
Now I think we kind of know what causes that with
mm,
the craft, why that makes that happen to cars.
mm.
But when you're experiencing it, it's so terrifying that you don't, because you don't know what's happening. It would be
Yeah.
good to put that out there for people to understand what's actually really happening so they wouldn't be afraid. But there are some, aren't there some ETs, not to get jump too far ahead, but there are some ETs that maybe you do want to put your foot down and get the hell out of there.
Yes. Yeah.
That
Absolutely. Yeah.
might have been one of them.
Right, where was I? Where did I finish before that? Um, I'm like my brain goes slow now until I get into my memories again, and then it'll be like, oh. So, oh
I
yeah,
like
so
that.
yeah, mad. Oh, and this is another thing as well, right? So there would be periods when I was younger, and even now to this day, there'll be periods where my psychic abilities will be almost non-existent, or I'm just not able to tap into them because I don't know, perhaps my vibration got so low because of life and depression, it happens to the best of us.
Right.
Um, but at its most strongest, I made a connection a long time ago. So especially when I was younger, um, it'd be at my strongest whenever I had visitation or I was taken, as in like taken on a ship. And that I've heard that a lot as well, because when you're taken, um, it's a bit like it's a bit like when people have near-death experiences, isn't it? They're not psychic, they come back and all of a sudden they're a full-blown medium and they're doing it for a living. It does something, it alters, it activates, it alters, it does something to your energy, doesn't it? And I can't think of the technical way or term to describe it, but if
Well,
maybe
you
you
may be
could.
getting downloads. You may be getting downloads while you're
Yeah,
up there. Kind of
yeah,
like in the Matrix when Neo was in the spacecraft and he was getting downloads and he
yeah,
said, "Oh, you're or
yeah,
whatever." Yeah,
absolutely.
you know, it
So
could have
I
been that.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. So these are the symptoms that I experienced just after I'd been taken. So it'd be wild things. So it would be things like, for instance, I'm sat in a living room, which, this happened. I've sat in the living room and I'm sat under the ceiling light shade, obviously the lights on. And all of a sudden it would just start acting up and sparking and going crazy, and then it would just shatter and glass would fall all over us, or this was very common. I would walk past a lamppost outside at night and the light would be fine, but the moment I walked past it, I can guarantee it would start acting up. It would start
Yeah.
dim, like the light would go out, it would come on, it would dim it, it would make a static noise.
Yep.
I always used to get electric shocks every time I touched the TV, fridge, the carts, like proper static shocks. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Extra ringing in the ears. My intuition was a lot stronger. I was able to connect to spirit more. I was able to receive downloads of information. Not very often, but sometimes I'd get a bloody nose. I'd wake up and I'd have a bloody nose. Or in fact, a few days ago, I woke up and there were blood in my ear. Don't know what happened there, but
Ah,
yeah,
that's interesting. So
yeah.
you were taken. Are you going to talk about like any of the times you were taken? Do you want to
Yeah,
go into that at all?
yeah, I can do.
Okay.
So I'll start with the big one, really. So this was the time I met my hybrid daughter. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one, but I can't remember her name, but there's a popular girl on YouTube, and she's a Starseed, and she talks a lot about hybrid children, and she says there's like a hybridization program that certain Starseeds sign up to help with other things, because they think, well, if you're down here and you're doing this, we might as well, kill two birds with one stone and take some of your DNA, and if you give us permission, and we'll use it to create hybrids. Not always for positive reasons, sometimes for negative reasons. I like to believe it's positive just because of the beings that were there with my daughter, in which there were two Arcturian beings. So
Oh,
anyway,
that's a good sign. Yeah.
yeah. So I goes to bed, just a normal night, and I wasn't taken physically. They took I suppose my astral form, if you like, perhaps, or my
Yeah.
consciousness. My astral form is like, but I was rematerialized, if that's the correct word, when I was on the ship. I just remember going to sleep, nothing, darkness, and then all of a sudden I open my eyes and I'm sat up inside of a ship, a UFO ship. And the first thing that I notice is the light. It was quite a bright light, almost similar to the ring light, in fact. The not the amber color, but like the white color. But it was less but it wasn't hurting my eyes. It was more like, I don't know how they do it, but it was different than our light. But but it was similar at the same time. I'd say it was
Wasn't
probably more
harsh.
natural. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I remember there just being a lot of it was quite minimalistic. It was very basic. Um, I remember looking to my left and I see it was almost, well, say almost, basically what it looked, obviously it wasn't our metal. They used different metals, but if I had to compare it to something we had here, it was um like a brushed chrome or like a not even that. It was like a matte steel type material, I think, like a grey, metal, and it was thick. It was a thick bed, like it was just a solid, thick metal bed that just seemed to be floating in the air, but not floating in the sense of it's like moving, floating. It was still, it was just there. There was no bottom to it, no
Yeah,
top. There was nothing holding it. It was just there.
it was just levitating.
That it was levitating, exactly.
Yeah.
And so then I could, yeah. And then at the side, then stood in front of the bed, let's just say, they were these tall, beautiful beings, and they were a blue color. If I had to give you a specific blue,
Would
probably a
it be
mix.
like the blue behind me? Like that blue in my
Yeah,
background?
like the different shades. It was like it wasn't one solid color blue. It's like if you turned your head a little bit, it would look
Okay.
different every
So
time.
it's like translucent, like
Yeah,
translucent. Right. I
yeah,
love,
like that.
I
Yeah.
love those
Yeah,
colors.
translate. Yeah, except for obviously they were solid looking. You couldn't. But yeah, that's kind of like how the color were. Again, very tall. They had prominent bone structure. They were slender. They were thin. Not as thin as the greys. They had more fat than that, but they were very slender, and they had prominent bone structure. So like, the collarbones really stood out. The shape of the face was sharp.
They were very chiseled.
Yeah,
Chiseled.
chiseled. Yeah, chiseled. That was the word I was trying to find. Chiseled, high cheekbones. They had deep set eyes. So
Mm.
they had a bit of a brow, a bit of a brow. But they had like tilted eyes, like slanted eyes. So
Right.
I'm
They're
not even going
slanted
to try
up.
and show you on that face.
Kind of like slanted
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But not too wide open, but not too small neither. Just perfect, really. And
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure their eyes were blue as well.
Hmm.
I sensed they were both male. Um, their energy, I'm going to describe their energy now. Their energy was a mix between serious, let's get down to business, stern, focused, but then there was a mix of, um, down to earth, childlike, funny, witty, good sense of humor mixed into it, and they could switch. Or they could use both energies at the same time. So they kept you on your toes a little bit. So
That,
you wouldn't know how to sit with them sometimes. A bit
that was fun.
cheeky. You can
Yeah.
imagine them being serious and then they'll throw in a little wink. If I had to, it's like that. Very
I
playful.
love that. That's
Yeah.
that. So
The best
playful,
way. Yeah.
playful and cheeky, but yet at the same time very like kind of
Yeah.
reserved almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Serious, reserved, no nonsense. Okay, we've had our laugh now. Let's knuckle down, but then a cheeky wink. Yeah. So when I connected with them, so this is a thing as well. Obviously, it's weird at the time, but not now. It obviously makes sense. But instantly, we connected and we spoke through telepathy. I didn't even try to open my mouth. I was the one that asked questions first. As I just described, the first thing that came to me before anything, before even their thoughts, it was their energy. I was reading their energy before I even got to speaking to them. Then I spoke to them telepathically. And they seemed a bit shocked, actually, but I did. I just spoke telepathically to them. And I remember, and I said to them, curious, and I was like, I literally said, "Why am I here? Why am I here?" And then, and then I could hear their thoughts, and they were communicating to each other. I could hear, of course, it wasn't English because obviously they have their own native language. I can't even try to mimic it, and I'm not going to because I'm not going to make myself look ridiculous. But they had their own language, and it was back and forth, back and forth. But even though I couldn't understand the language, what they were saying, their tone and frequency was enough for me to know exactly what they were talking about. Does that make sense? So I
Yes,
translated the energy.
get their intent. You could capture the intent of what they were.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I felt what they were saying between themselves is, shall we show her? Do you think she's ready? Do you think this is right? Is she ready? Type thing. That's what I got. And then they went quiet. And then all of a sudden I was drawn to look to my right. And there is where the wall is, so the outside of the ship, there was no doors. There was no outline of a door neither. There was nothing. It just went from just a solid plain metallic wall to all of a sudden like how can I explain this? It went from that to all of it. Yeah, all of a sudden it was like a portion of that wall came forward in the shape of a door, and then it went to the side. Does that explain that all right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like come forward and then went to the side, yeah, and then
Right.
faded back into the wall. So it was just crazy. It was alive. The metal, you could tell it got its own consciousness. It was alive. I felt that much, and it was almost like you could see the vibration of it, like it was moving. The whole thing was alive. So then all of a sudden, this young hybrid child comes forward, and I would say she was between the ages of 7 and 9. And I remember, again, it's just amazing because I remember it like it was yesterday, and I get excited and ahead of myself, and I want to try and explain and share every detail without fumbling over my words. But she walks forward closer to me very slowly, and the first thing I noticed before her energy was her smile. She just had this big, broad smile, and it was just that happy smile, like pleased to see me smile, and that melted my heart. And then I picked up the energy, and the energy was like excited. Even though she didn't show she was excited, she was very, it was almost like they had a little word with her and said, look, you're going to meet your mummy, and you need to just stay calm and don't say anything, type thing, like we probably would with our children down here if they was to meet someone new. And so so her energy was, I felt the excitement. She couldn't contain the excitement because I felt it. And the biggest thing that came through was curious. So curious. That was the biggest thing that came through, was just her curiosity. And I remember, so she looked very similar to my daughter Lucy when Lucy was that age. The only difference was her eyes. My daughter's got huge eyes, big eyes, almond shape, but upright, slanted, whatever that word was you said earlier, but kind of up. My daughter's got big blue eyes, and so my hybrid daughter had as well, but obviously a bit more round and a bit more larger than Lucy, but very close. But she couldn't get away with being human down here. She would stick out like a sore thumb. So it was clear she was a hybrid. She'd got a biggish forehead, and then it kind of like narrowed, like the chin area. Not too narrow, but narrowish. It was not in proportion, but still she was beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. She had a very small what nose shape do they call it? She had a very small nose, a very small dainty nose. Almost like if you looked at her from the side, a bit like mine, she'd have like that, but a very smaller version, and not so, like that.
Maybe the cartilage itself was smaller.
I didn't see any of that. This seemed
No
flat.
cartilage.
No, it
Okay.
was no cartilage. It was flush. It was flat, and it was more just the end bit, just
Wow.
this bit at the end.
Really?
And then yeah, and then her lips basically looked like she had no lips. They were so thin lips, but she had a broad smile. I couldn't see her teeth or anything like that. She never opened her mouth once, never. Anyway, so she sits down at the side of me, and then she does this. So you're probably going to laugh now, but this is anyway. So she looks at me, and she's like looking at me like this, studying my face, studying everything, curious, like almost just thinking like, it's almost like she was trying to see if she got some of her features from me, that curious, like, do I look like my mummy? Like, type
Oh,
thing. That's kind of,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And
Did
yeah,
she,
it's just,
did you get a feeling from her that she thought she did? Or did you
yeah,
feel
it was, yeah, again, it was like telepathy, but not with speaking, it was thoughts and
right,
feeling. Yeah,
right?
it was so strong. And I just knew, I just knew that,
She felt
eh,
like this is my mommy. Like this, she
yeah,
felt like,
yeah,
yes.
it was all, and this was another feeling I got as well. It was like she had been waiting forever for that moment, and it
Mm,
finally happened, and she was so happy. Yeah,
yeah.
and I got that. Yeah. And so after a short while, I hear the Octarians speaking, again to themselves. So I turn and look, and I asked some questions. I'm like, where am I? Obviously I'm on a UFO ship, but I was still confused. Like, where am I? I'm sure that's what I said. Where am I? Or what are you doing? Or something on the lines of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then all of a sudden I hear both their minds go quiet, and then they look at each other. And this time they're not exchanging thoughts, because I think they realized I could figure
Yeah,
out what they was.
you heard,
Maybe, I don't know, but they were quiet, and
yeah.
they just looked at each other, and that was it. And then they turned around and looked at me, and then poof, I was gone. And I was somewhere in America in a high school. They dropped me off to the wrong frigging place and wrong country. I'm in America in a high school, literally in a school, and I just appear in the middle of the corridor where all kids are just, fast walking, pacing. I remember seeing all the lockers, and I stood there, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! Like, why, why here? Why have you just dropped me off like in America?" And I know obviously it was America because of the accent. So then
Uh-huh.
I basically astral traveled back home. So I don't know why that happened. Why did they just not, took me back? I don't know
They
why they
just,
did that. They did, why they did it? They did it for fun because they are little pranksters. Maybe that's that. Maybe they
oh,
thought it'd be
they're like,
funny. I don't
like,
know.
let's let her see what America's like for a minute. Probably not the best representation of America, but yeah. So you astral tra so after they dropped you off, you were physically in America, or with
No,
your astral body.
my astral body was in America. Yeah.
So they wouldn't have, the kids wouldn't have
No,
seen you.
no, they couldn't have seen me. And if they did see me, they would have swear blind I was a ghost. We spoke about that, didn't we, before? Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah, right. Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing. That's
So no, I had to make my way back home. They could have given me a lift or something, got me an Uber or something.
yeah, bastards.
I know. It's so funny. Um,
Ah,
so yeah, something happened probably about 6 months ago. So while we were on the subject of extraterrestrials, so this wasn't in the astral realm, like I wasn't taken astrally. This actually happened physically. So I went to bed, and where my bed is, basically it's right next to my bedroom window. My voice is going. It's right next to my bedroom window. And I apologise just quickly if I'm shouting. My daughter tells me off because apparently I shout. So I
you're
apologise.
not even close.
Oh, that's all right then. So yeah, I'm in bed. I'm getting all wrapped up and all snuggled, like just unwinding. And I often sometimes look out the window because I just do. It's just a habit. Not that you can really see much, but anyway. So I'm just like looking around my bedroom, and then I'm drawn to look at my bedroom window. Yeah, and there staring at me through the window is an extraterrestrial head, literally like that.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. That is,
I crapped myself. I shat myself, and I freaked out like a little kid. I felt like I was 8 years old again, and I literally went.
how old were you when this happened? How old?
This was 6 months ago.
Oh my God.
Well, it's because because it was unexpected, and
Right.
because it was in the physical. Because the thing is, you see, when you're out of body, when you're in your astral body, I don't know, for me anyway, I'm less scared because um I don't know how to explain it, but you're more familiar with it when you're not in your human body. I don't know. It's not as scary. It's almost like, yeah. But for some reason, when you're in, I think that's it. Because when you're in your body, it's your ego, isn't it? You got your
Yes,
ego,
I was just gonna say that. Yes, because it's a
fight or
survival
flight.
mechanism, because you want to
Yeah.
survive, because these meat suits need to be protected. But when you're outside, I mean, your astral body needs to be somewhat protected, but not like the meat suits. Like,
Mm.
if something happens to this, then your whole mission could end here, and then you have to go back right away. But, but if you're in your astral body, no. So I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad it did come to me eventually. I was like, it's the ego. Yes, it's the fight and
It's
flight
the
response.
ego,
Yeah.
fight or flight. Yes.
Yeah. So and even though I quickly only saw it quickly, I saw it long enough to remember the detail of it. And I did look on Google, and I did find the closest match that I could find. But intuitively, psychically, or let's just go intuitively, I felt that it was a hybrid. It was a mix. It was a grey reptilian hybrid.
Okay. So I was going to ask what
Yeah.
it looked like, but that's
Yeah.
what it looked like. So it didn't look
Um,
like the same ones that took you on the blue ones. It didn't look like that.
oh no, 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 nothing, nothing
Okay.
like that. I'm trying to remember if I felt if it was negative or positive. I think I'd probably swing more towards the negative, but not overly negative, like to the point of it wanting to hurt me. Like I didn't feel threatened, you know.
Right.
I'm trying to explain what it looked like. It was the reason why I saw it so well as well because literally have a street lamp opposite my house. Well, you can see it outside my bedroom window, so it's not dark in my room, and it's not dark when you look outside because of the light.
Right.
So if anything, I saw it more because I had this light behind it, so I was able to see the outline of it, and I was able to see the eyes.
Right.
So yeah,
Meaning.
yeah. So again, it had like a flat face, prominent, large round head, and again, like narrow, at the bottom half. A bit like me, basically. I have a massive, this is me. We often have massive foreheads. So I
Mm.
just hide it. But yeah, but anyway, and it had not tiny eyes, but not huge eyes. It kind of had like, it was like squinty eyes, like that, squinty eyes, dark eyes. And its skin color was like imagine like a dark swampy green color. It was like that,
Oh yeah.
maybe a touch of gray, maybe. But yeah, I definitely felt it was definitely a gray reptilian mix for sure.
You feel its intent. Could you feel what it was thinking or anything like that?
No, I couldn't. I don't know if it just perhaps wasn't giving off anything at that time. It wasn't thinking anything. Perhaps it knew would be able to read it, so it purposely,
Yes.
stopped that.
It
I
healed.
don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
because just because let's say hypothetically that's the case, and just because I didn't feel it doesn't mean to say it hadn't got any bad intentions towards me. That's another thing as well.
Yes.
So I don't know. I really don't know. Um, sorry about that. Don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah.
Had a pop
Yes,
up
sir.
on my phone, breaking news.
Oh, I had no, I didn't.
Um, so yeah, quite a few things actually have happened in this last year. I've been visited by my family a few times. So we all like this one. This is a nice one. So I went to bed, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and I used to have a mirror opposite my bed. I don't anymore because obviously mirrors are portals, and opposite the bed is the worst place to have them. I've actually captured extraterrestrials and a skeleton figure and many spirit faces in the mirror, and I've caught them as in when like on a picture, like photos as it's progressing and forming, manifesting.
Whoa, that's
Yeah,
cool.
because yeah, they can use mirrors as portals, including extraterrestrials, as it turns out. Even they can. They like to peek, you know.
Can you share those pictures at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I
Um,
don't have to do it now, but maybe in another call because that would be
yeah,
very interesting to see.
yeah, definitely. I'll bring that. I can sort that out. So yeah, so I wake up, so I'm drawn to look at the mirror, and I see an orb, but I'm not talking like a little small spirit orb, because not many people know this, but extraterrestrials can carry themselves in orbs, usually big, big. I'm talking big orbs, big bright orbs, and that's basically what I saw. It was like the sun was above my head, and I was like, whoa. Wow. And then I remember looking up, and of course, I couldn't see it with my physical eye, either that or it just disappeared. And it was huge. And I remember the energy, like it was very, it was just the energy and feeling I got. It was just a sense of just checking in on you, just making sure you're all right type thing. And so I often do speak to my spirit guides. I don't know if you do, but I speak,
Do
through
now.
telepathy.
For
Yeah.
because of you, you've
Yeah.
helped me with that. Yeah.
Oh, oh, good. I'm glad. Yes, I've always done this, even when I was younger. That's another thing as well. Ever since I was younger, I was always speaking to myself.
Right, me
Always.
too, but I thought it was
Yeah,
me. I thought it was
but
just
it
me that I was
wasn't.
talking.
Yeah,
No.
it was our higher self. It was a higher self or spirit or
Yeah,
our family, galactic family. So
yeah.
anyway, so I said I spoke to them and I said, oh, thank you. I really appreciate. I think I was struggling actually. When I struggle, when I'm low and I get down, that's when it usually happens. It's almost like they're just saying, look, I can imagine my galactic family are just saying, Sahara or Sashia or whatever, just go and check on Zoe, just show yourself, just a reminder that, we're still here type thing. And I do believe that's what they do. Just
Yeah.
random names are made up there. Um, so yeah. So anyway, I said thank you, I really appreciate it. And it did help shift my energy, it really did. And I started to go back within myself and start remembering, who I am, and I am loved, I'm not lonely, and I am supported. And then I asked them, could they please show themselves to Lucy, my daughter? And so anyway, that night I'm in bed and it was pretty late, and all of a sudden I'm hearing my daughter's door squeaking, and it's like it's just opening very slowly, and then it will stop and it will open more and it will stop, but the whole time it's squeaking, and it's like as I mentioned earlier, I'm very, very sensitive to sounds, and that to me is like nails on a chalkboard. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And I feel a bit bad, but I'm real and honest, and I got to the point, and I snapped at Lucy. I said, Lucy, what are you doing with that bloody door? Because it was going on for ages. And then she went, Mom, and I was like, what? And then I heard that tone in her voice, like she'd saw something, and then all of a sudden she screams, and then she comes running and jumps on my bed, and I was like, what? She says, was that not you at the door? I went, no. She says, oh. I thought it was you about to come in my room, or you were standing there. I was like, why would I be standing at your door? She's like, I don't know. I said, what happened? She says, well, I got up, she said, and I took a closer look and I peeked through the door. And then she said, and all of a sudden I saw this massive ball of light. She says it was there, and then all of a sudden it shot off into the bathroom. Of course, it startled her, freaked her out, and she comes running to me. And then
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry. So sorry, that's my fault. She went, what do you mean? And then I tell her what had happened. Bearing in mind, I didn't tell her what had happened. She didn't know any of this. And then I asked them to show themselves to you. And she went, Mom, I hate it when you do that. So it's happened on a few occasions. She's like, I wish you wouldn't do that. I'm sorry. I know.
Well, that's cool that she knows. At least she knows now.
Oh, she knows. She knows. Absolutely.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get into that another day because about,
Yeah.
she's a Starseed and she's had her own experiences, which I'll share that. Maybe we'll probably talk about that, maybe if you're comfortable with that, maybe about our kids. You don't have to obviously give the names and stuff, but
Yes,
it's obviously,
absolutely. I
it's,
think we should maybe do another one because it's getting to be
yeah,
like a long call, and I don't
yeah,
know how long I can make this video. I don't.
yeah, I know what you mean
I've never made
before.
a really long one before, and then I have to upload it, and then I'm doing it all on my phone. I'll just be completely transparent with people. This is a phone.
Yeah,
There's nothing fancy about my setup here. So, yeah, so I have to, yeah, we definitely should do another one where you can go into a little bit more, whatever you feel free to
yeah,
discuss, because everything you've said is completely fascinating. And,
yeah,
and it totally resonates with me. And I'm sure there's
mm,
a lot of other people out there that
mm,
are going, yes, finally
yeah,
somebody else is
absolutely. Yeah.
confirming this, and I've
Well, 'cause
been through this
that's the
too.
absolutely, because that's the thing, and it will also help them as well. Because if they're anything like me, when I realized I was a starseed, it was exciting at the beginning in the sense because it was like, oh my God, it makes sense now why I'm so different because I am different. I wasn't going crazy, and when you go on Google, which I'll get into that another time about my whole spiritual awakening, my when I was activated, and because we're all activated at specific times, and there's a whole story just on that alone at
Yes.
predestined times, yeah. But anyway, when I came to understand I was a starseed, I remember just for months researching starseed because I didn't hear it. I didn't randomly hear people talking about starseeds or saying, "Oh, Zoe, you might be a starseed." No, I
Right.
discovered this all on my own. You know,
Yes. Yep.
completely on my own. I literally followed the yellow brick road. I followed that white rabbit, and I just everything was connecting, light bulb moments. But anyway, I remember I saw something on Google about here's 20 signs and symptoms that you may be a starseed.
Yeah.
Of course, I ticked every single one of them, if not all of them. You know,
Right.
bearing in mind, it says you don't have to tick all of these boxes. You don't have to have
Right.
experienced all of these to be a starseed. But I am one of those starseeds that I can honestly say, yeah, yeah, check, 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 and
Yeah.
so much. But anyway,
Right.
what I'm trying to say is just quickly, and then obviously I'll let you go. Um, but this will help people as well because at the beginning it was exciting. It was like, yes, everything makes sense now. But then when I was going through ego death, I was going through the dark night of the soul, which we go through multiples of those. I was in disbelief. I started to think I was crazy. This can't be real. This is all made up in my head. And, I'm just normal. I was resisting myself and going against myself. And then, of course, all that did was just attract more um, situations and more signs and more experiences into my life because my team was just like, no, 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 Zoe, no, 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 you was on the right track. You know, yes, you are a starseed. Yes, you are here, and for this reason, and don't ever forget that. So they were always reminding me, always. And the more experiences I experienced, the more profound they were. The more like I couldn't hide from them. I couldn't, pretend they didn't happen because they were just blatantly obvious. So again, this will help many star seeds that are kind of like slipping back into let's say, the matrix and feeling small again and feeling lonely and feeling like they're going crazy. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're far from it. You are different, not better, just different, and we're all equally important. We all have special gifts and abilities. It's just the only difference is starseeds, we just come elsewhere. That's all. We come elsewhere, and we're all here at this time to help assist humanity with their spiritual awakening. And because humanity are all they're upgrading, their consciousness is evolving and expanding, and they're all going to the next level of consciousness and discovering a whole new layer to themselves, a whole new multiple layers to themselves, and they're waking up, and we're all got abilities, we've all got gifts, we're all special, we're all unique, and just remember that. I just really wanted to say that, you know.
That's
So
great. I love that. And it's not always, we don't all have the exact same gifts. We may have
yeah,
different gifts, but that
yeah,
doesn't, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter who has what or who doesn't have it, because your purpose is whatever your gifts are. So they're
absolutely.
connected
Yeah,
directly to your full purpose, why you're here, what you're
yeah,
here for, and you find it. It
yeah.
finds you. And so you don't
Definitely.
have.
Like, yeah, we all have a piece of the puzzle. We all have gifts, but when we come together, you know, them gifts are just they can do a whole lot of they can do a whole lot of change. You know,
Yes.
we shouldn't compare. We shouldn't look down on others. We shouldn't judge. You know, unfortunately, humanity are still in that energy, but they are getting better. Um, so yeah, just remember, you know, you're much bigger and powerful and greater than you've ever believed ever, you know. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that really, because my brain's going slow-mo now. I'm coming back down to earth now. I'm yeah, 3D in
Yeah,
it now.
coming back down. Yes, and I also just want to say, you know, what part of the potential that we have to be something that we're supposed to be, that we came here to be, is
Mm,
just to understand and fulfill that, you know, we all have some kind of a passion or a yearning for something.
mm,
It deep down inside of us, and we call it a soul urge, right?
yeah,
Our soul urges to do something, to make something better. So we
yeah,
all have this. What can we speak out into the ethers to make it happen? What can we say?
mm,
Yes, I'm going to make this happen. What is it that we want to make happen? And
yeah,
I would say, you know, more love, more kindness,
yeah,
more,
absolutely.
you know, more understanding,
Yeah.
um, more compassion, empathy, um,
Unity. Yeah. Just
unity.
remembering that, you
Yes,
know,
unity.
we're not separate. We're actually all the same. And we're brothers and sisters. You know, we all come from the same place, and we're all going back to the same place, and we're all made of the same substance. And you know, we come into the world the same way, and we leave the world the same way. And you know, and anything else beyond that, you know, I don't know, popularity, fame, money, you know, famous and all that, you know, stop, you know, I just want to say, like, we shouldn't be looking up to them like they're gods, you know, like they're bigger and better than us, because they really are not. If anything, their purpose, they have many purposes, but one of their purposes is to make us feel like we are less than, to
Yes,
make us feel like we are can't get that word out, but yeah, just less than, like we're not worthy, like, you know, I just don't agree with that. I just don't think it's right. No one should be uh, any higher, you know. We shouldn't have hierarchy. We shouldn't have all these titles and names that not just humans but many beings give themselves. You know, I don't agree with that. I really don't. And that's not helping the matter. That's not helping the situation, especially on Earth, because, you know, you can just live a basic life, you know, have a lovely family, and still be as big and as magnificent and as powerful than those that are on the top of the pyramid.
in fact, maybe even more so. Maybe even more,
Absolutely more so,
because
yeah,
you
because
have more love in your life than they could
yeah,
ever have. You have the love
yeah,
of your family and your children and your,
yeah,
you know, your you know, everybody. So
yeah,
yes, that's so powerful. The love vibration is the most powerful.
absolutely. I mean, you know, these people on top, they're run by ego, they're run by um money, greed. You know, that's the opposite to love energy. That's the complete opposite. And they're
Right.
further away from source than anyone. You know, they're not in a very nice place. They like that not very nice place. If that's what they want to experience, then who am I to judge? But
Absolutely.
what I don't like is how it makes people that are let's say at the bottom of the pyramid feel like nothing, you know,
Well,
small.
it's time for us to come out of there, out of that
Yeah,
bottom. It's
yeah,
we're expanding, and
mm,
we're coming out of it. So that's my vision, is to see that, is to kind of make that keep happening. So
yeah,
uh, it's
yeah,
been great having you on, and just stick around a little bit. I'm gonna stop the recording, but I will really look forward to having you on another podcast very, very soon, and we're going to talk more about all of this.
Oh,
So,
good. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Thank you again, you know, for this opportunity because I needed it because I've been pushed and guided for a long time to do my own YouTube channel and upload my experiences. And I posted a little something 9 months ago, just a little short introduction, but I've just not got around to it. I just put it off. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's lack of encouragement, lack of support, you know, whatever it is, I always found it an excuse, let's say. And Spirit has really been, you know, pushing me really hard, and hence why we've come together. Light workers and Starseeds, anyway, at the minute are coming together. But you know,
well, you've got my support,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm sure anybody else who wants to drop a comment in the comments here, I will put Zoe's information, and the way you can contact her as well, if you know, you want to give her some support, that would be awesome. And
yeah. Thank you.
yes, thank you for being on, and thank you everybody for listening. And please comment, subscribe, and like, and we'll see you for the next episode. Thank you.
Thank
Ciao
you.
for now.
Bye. Bye.